Welcome to the second episode of Behind the Coach, brought to you by Jiminy in partnership with Sales Impact Academy. My name is Tom Lavery. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Jiminy. We're a conversation intelligence platform that helps companies grow faster. And Sales Impact Academy is a world-leading go-to-market learning platform. So we're super excited to bring you this 10-part series where I get the fun job of chatting to SIA's leading coaches about their courses, expertise and experience, understanding something they love, try and avoid. So with this episode this week, I'm super excited to talk to Alex Olley, who is the co-founder of Reachdesk. He has experience in sales, marketing and leadership, worked in SaaS companies for years, and his SIA course is Moments That Matter, Direct Mailing and Gifting. So without further ado, let's crack on and chat to Alex. Hey, Alex.
Tom, nice to see you, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It's great to have you on. So
yes, pleasure to be on. It's been a while. I've sort of kept myself away from doing stuff like this. This is the first in a long time. Here's to many more, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Well, before we dive into it, I did find a little fun fact. The team found out that you are, Alex, I didn't know this, you're a fully qualified lawyer. How did you then end up going and doing Reachdesk when you're fully qualified lawyer?
Yeah, man. Well done for digging that out. I didn't see that one coming. Yeah, look, I studied law at university, and I remember going to a load of interviews and thinking, this isn't really for me. And I fell into the world of startups by accident. It was like 2009 when I left uni, and really hard to get a job. And I actually started working at this company called Deezer, like a software company, it's music streaming. And I just got hooked on it, did a couple of years there, and actually decided to go into the world of like law. So going back to my degree, but in the world of like music and entertainment. And I like really missed the world of sales. Despite like working in a great industry, it was a lot of fun. I just had that longing, that sort of calling, which I felt like my purpose was to get back into sales. So since then, I've just spent my life really investing in like not just upskilling salespeople, but like really banging the drum on like the importance of the sales profession. It's such an important profession. I don't think we're doing a good enough job there. But yeah, I needed to get back into it really. Yeah,
of course. Being a former sales leader myself, and the work that SIA are doing, in ways you get such passionate people, but it's such an uneducated space to some extent, which is great to see all these things popping up. So the course that you run, Moments That Matter, I'll openly say, like, we're a Reachdesk customer, which is great, and we put that in recently. And in my previous company, where I was there for nearly a decade, we before you had cool tools like Reachdesk to help automate it and work through it, we actually had the concept of it called Wow Moments. And when everyone actually used to be in the office, we had this a big shelf of like a wall that we'd stock with everything, and anyone in sales or CS could go in, and there'd be like a shiny Raw Gateway branded envelope, and you could send a wow moment to a customer. So it'd be like a baby's bib or whatever, or different things like that. I think it's something that I'm so passionate about and I believe in. But before we dive into questions, you just want to give a little introduction to what the course is all about for people who don't know.
You kind of already summarized it. The course is about those wow moments. I call it moments that matter because there's a timing element. We've done gifting well before we had phones or emails. This has been done for centuries, millennia. What I'm trying to do here is like really think about the workflow and how you can use gifting and direct mail and tie it into like those key moments that matter within your buyer and customer journey. A lot of it is around how do we take this concept of the gift or the direct mailer and actually incorporate it into our workflows so that we can address those key moments that matter for us as businesses, so that we can actually have a positive economic impact as well as a positive experience.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because a lot of the time you think of it, I think historically, almost like an intervention, something you can do to get someone's attention or to bring them back. Whereas actually, like, how does it just become part of the fabric of your process, whether that's sales or customer success?
Yeah,
awesome.
And it's a really good point there. For me, a lot of it is based on the principle of reciprocity. In the course itself, I do talk about this, but it's quite a known fact that if you give without expecting anything in return, people will actually reciprocate. The problem where people kind of stumble up here is they expect something in return. And I'll give you an example. A lot of people will say, hey, look, let's take a meeting, and if you do, I'll give you $100 of Amazon. And that can like really rub people up the wrong way. I know there are different cultures where that's okay, but most the time it's not. So I'm always advocating that principle of reciprocity of like giving first, and in return, people give you their most valuable thing, which is often their time.
Oh, definitely. Awesome. Okay, cool. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of it then, and we can share some stuff with the sales community. So, first things first, like something that you love about this that you'd like to share and we can talk about.
I think I should take that example. If you look at what's happened over the past 18 months to 2 years, the thing I've loved doing is really helping individuals within companies, or just like people that work for themselves, to think about the human element to their sales and marketing process. Now, there's no secret that we're overwhelmed with digital noise. We spend a lot of time on Zoom calls, a lot of people working hybrid. When we start thinking about how do we humanize the world of sales and marketing, and I use the two together interlinked. I don't think they should ever be separated.
Great.
Those experiences that you can tie into to what you're doing can have such a big impact. It could be the difference between winning a deal or not. And because the way I look at it is, if you take the world of like the B2C, well, us as consumers buying jeans online, going shopping, we expect such a frictionless experience. And this can be applied so easily in the world of B2B by tying in like gifting specifically. My advice to anyone who's thinking about going into the world of gifting is actually try and think like a consumer almost. Don't think just about a business. Most of the time we think about campaigns, right? So we think, how do we do this big Q4 campaign? Once a year we can send out 1,000 bundles, and the timing of it can often be off. So think about the consumer buyer journey that we are used to as consumers, and then apply that to your business. And then you'll start to see these strategic touch points that you can do, which is all based on experience. When you do that, you'll have these, as you called it, wow moments, where people will just do unexpected things because you've done something unexpected for them.
I think there's a lot of things B2B can learn from B2C, because you have to work so much harder to keep people and to retain them, to keep them engaged. And I think it's really interesting you use the word gifting, but sometimes when I see it from my own experience, it doesn't even have to cost that much money, does it? Like, as in, the handwritten note will like just make someone's day or week that you've taken the time to think about them and then what you're going to write. And even that, like, it doesn't have to be about the dollar amount all the time, you know?
You're bang on. The value is often not the most important thing. I'll give you two examples. The handwritten note is gold, by the way. If you think about what I think is probably going to be coming back a lot more next year is actual physical events. We're going to the hybrid event realm now, but people are starting to try that. Hopefully, as we get back into normality, that's going to be key. But can you imagine when you go to a conference or even online, if you have an online event and you meet 50 people in a day, everyone's sending you emails, doing the same thing. If you're that one person that writes that note, which doesn't even have to be that long, which really captures what you discussed and that clear call to action, you get it to someone that's going to stay on their desk. I can almost guarantee that no one else would have done that. You might have one other that would have thought of it, but there's that memorable, that long lasting impression you've created, and it can cost you next to nothing. And then you can go down the world of gifting, but again, it doesn't have to be expensive. I go back to the example I gave before. If you think about, let's talk about the B2B world here, and particularly SaaS is the word I know best. There's that critical moment. Let's think about BDRs where they book a meeting and there's that awful wait. Is that, are they going to show up or not? Like, just give them almost that reason, like reward them for their time in advance. You can send something like a $5 Starbucks voucher, for example. And my word, the people that come to calls, I've had people come to calls with like, I've literally gone to get the Starbucks and I've got your name written on it out. Like, that's the experience. You shatter their expectations. It doesn't have to cost a lot.
No, not at all. I think just doing the simplest things has the biggest impact. And we, you know, from all your data and all your customers and running the course, like, is there something that you would recommend to the community, like, that they should try that they haven't thought of or done before? Something that you've seen really work over the last year?
There's a ton of data. We're actually about to release a lot of this. I can't talk to it too much. But think about everything we lost back in March 2020. We lost a lot. We lost events. We couldn't meet in person. We couldn't travel to see people easily. Like, the data shows to us, if you start to recreate the things that we lost and bring them into a world of gifting or direct mail to humanize what you're trying to do, you can address a lot of key problems. So again, let's just think of that one example. If I used to take people out for lunch in my role, and now I no longer can, or I perhaps want to travel less, why don't you do it digitally? Why don't you think about doing those small things where if we're trying to close a deal over lunch with senior execs, like send it to them. Think about recreating the things that we lost. Think about the things that would have made a difference, and all is not lost.
Yeah, we did a client advisory board a little while ago, and obviously no one could get together, or had to be, on Zoom. And we just did it was at lunchtime, so a time where everyone might have a gap. And then we did like an Uber Eats voucher, so they could order themselves lunch or whatever while they're at the client advisory board, right? So just little things like that make a huge difference. There's something I picked up on there before when you were saying you'll be the only one to do it. And I think with that, it's almost like with video, people know it really works and know it's important, but how many emails do you probably get that have a video in? When you get, there's hardly any.
I'm really surprised with this. I'm glad you brought it up. At the beginning of, I'd say, this year, there was a bit more. There's a bit more adoption of it, but it's just been done badly. And what I've seen is that sales leaders, aren't doing it themselves. They don't want to get on video, and they're just saying to their team, "Hey, look, just use video. Just use." And I think Sales Impact Academy have a really good class on this. All you have to do is just break it down into a structure where you make people feel confident. And by the way, just tell people that probably the first 3 will sound rubbish, probably look a little bit silly. But we use video like there's no tomorrow in Reachdesk. We use it all the time, not just to showcase us sending gifts in our platform, but just to create that human approach. And it's all about the reason why I'm sending you this video. It's all tied back to that. The reason why I'm sending you this video is because of this. We have a little breakdown, which is a repeatable cycle. And then it just empowers your reps. And as they do more of it and they share the best ones that work, video can go a long way. Yeah,
the thing is, the written word can be interpreted however the reader wants, right? So I think the power of you explaining what you're trying to explain, whether it's to a deal or to a prospect or to a customer, is just super important. But it goes back to that same thing. How many people are doing it just generally in any part of their process? And then you think the same with gifting. Just if there's 2 or 3 competitors in an opportunity, how many of them are taking the time to have that wow moment, as we say, or something like that? Just you will just stand out, and show that you care. More importantly,
it goes down to that fundamental principle of people buy with emotion, they justify with logic. That was applied to the B2C industry for ages. It's definitely here to stay. I don't think that's going to change. If you tug on people's heartstrings, you might give yourself a better fighting chance.
And Alex, in all your experience, I guess, to the last point, is there something you would recommend massively avoiding when it comes to direct mailing or gifting prospects or customers?
Yeah, a couple of things. I've already mentioned one, don't expect anything in return, particularly in the message. I strongly advise everyone to stop doing the whole, hey, let's take a meeting, but wait for the meeting and then I'll send the gift. Particularly over here in Europe, there are a lot of countries where that's illegal. I'm thinking about the Nordic regions, the DACH region. Really? You actually just can't do that. You have double opt-in, so you don't want to get into trouble for a start. But I think it creates a bad experience there. A lot of people are sending gifts that I've seen where there's no note. If you're going to send someone a gift, don't just send your own swag with a brochure. Have a note in there that actually has some context around it, because that's the personalization. That's the hook that you can then use when you're following up. And that's the third point, really, is make sure you follow up. If you're using direct mail and gifting, 75% of the time, someone won't respond. So it's only 25% of the time, 1 in 4 that you'll send where someone will automatically respond. The rest of the time, you need to follow up. And the timing of that is key. Don't wait for more than, I'd say 24 hours, 48 hours is the long stop. But as soon as something arrives, have a follow-up strategy. Because that's what's going to get the most out of it. So I think those are the 3 things, really. Is the reciprocity thing, give first. Make sure that there's an element of personalization, even if it's just down to the note. Obviously, with Reachdesk, you can do a lot more. If I know you're a wine lover, I can send you a bottle of wine with your name engraved on it, make it hyper-personalized. And make sure you have a follow-up strategy. And those are the 3 key fundamentals.
That's great. Cool. And if people want to find a little bit more about Reachdesk, what's the best place for them to do that?
Big on LinkedIn. So just follow us on LinkedIn. Just go to www.reachdesk.com. Those are the main 2 places, really.
Awesome. Well, Alex, it's been great to catch up and learn more about the course and everything. And I look forward to seeing you soon, mate.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. Cheers, Alex.
Cheers, Tom. Bye, mate.